Imagine waking up in a place where there's barely enough room to stretch your arms, where your neighbors are just inches away, not next door, but above, below, and all around you. A place where personal space is a luxury, and survival means adapting to an environment packed beyond imagination. Now, what if I told you that millions of people call these places home not just for a day, not just as tourists, but for their entire lives? Today, we're taking you on a journey through the most insanely crowded places on Earth, where people live, work, and build their futures despite the overwhelming density. Some of these places are bustling urban jungles, where skyscrapers fight for breathing room. Others are slum settlements, where entire families squeeze into spaces smaller than a parking spot. But one thing remains the same. These places are alive. They're filled with stories of struggle, resilience, and the human spirit. In this video, we're counting down the most crowded places where people live. From the floating shanty towns of Nigeria to the maze-like apartment blocks of Hong Kong, we're exploring the extreme realities of life in some of the most densely packed neighborhoods on the planet. And trust me, you won't believe how people manage to survive, thrive, and even find joy in these unbelievably cramped conditions. So buckle up, because what you're about to see will change the way you think about space, home, and human endurance. If you've ever seen a city bustling with energy, multiply that by 10, and you have Dharavi, one of the largest slums in the world. Over 1 million people are packed into just 2.1 square kilometers. That's nearly 500,000 people per square mile. Here, homes are tiny, streets are narrow, and every inch of space is used for living, working, or selling goods. But Dharavi isn't just a slum, it's a thriving economic hub, with thousands of small businesses producing leather goods, textiles, and pottery that get exported worldwide. Despite the lack of clean water and sanitation, there's a strong sense of community and resilience. It's a place where people don't just survive, they innovate. Welcome to Mongkok, one of the most crowded urban districts on the planet. With a population density of 130,000 people per square kilometer, it's literally shoulder-to-shoulder living. Neon signs flash above chaotic street markets. Towering apartment blocks squeeze residents into tiny units, and many people live in what are called cage homes, metal bunk beds, inside 6 by 3 foot enclosures. But despite the crowding, Mongkok is alive. The streets never sleep. The food scene is electric, and the hustle never stops. How do 1,200 people live on an island the size of 2 soccer fields? Welcome to Santa Cruz del Islote, the most densely populated island on Earth. There are no roads, no hospitals, and no running water. Houses are crammed so tightly that residents build upwards, stacking homes on top of each other. Yet, despite its isolation, this tiny island has a strong sense of community, where people help each other, children play in the narrow alleyways, and fishing sustains the entire population. Before it was demolished in 1993, Kowloon-walled City was the most crowded human settlement in history. With 33,000 people packed into just 6.4 acres, it was a lawless maze of overlapping apartments, hidden alleyways, and illegal businesses. Sunlight barely reached the lower levels, and makeshift electrical wiring ran like veins through its chaotic infrastructure. Despite its reputation as a crime haven, Kowloon had its own schools, clinics, and factories. It was an entire self-sufficient world within a city. Perched on the hills of Rio de Janeiro, Rocinha is Brazil's largest favela, slum, with over 100,000 residents squeezed into steep, winding streets. Homes are built on top of one another, sometimes without proper foundation, and narrow alleys connect a maze of small businesses, street vendors, and local bars. Even with its difficulties, Rocinha has a strong culture, with vibrant art, music, and community-driven initiatives trying to improve living conditions. This is one of the most overcrowded slums in Africa, sitting on a tiny peninsula in Monrovia, Liberia. With 75,000 people living in makeshift homes, the area faces frequent flooding, sanitation crisis, and disease outbreaks. Yet, it's also a place of resilience, where fishing and trade sustain the locals, and community-led projects work toward better housing and sanitation. Mala is the world's most densely populated island city, with 200,000 people packed into just 2.3 square miles. The city has no room to expand, so high-rises tower over narrow streets, and urban congestion is a daily challenge. Rising sea levels pose an even bigger threat, forcing the Maldives government to build artificial islands to ease the population pressure. With over 2 million people, Iztapalapa is Mexico City's most crowded borough, where homes are built side by side with barely any space in between. Water shortages, traffic congestion, and poverty are major issues, but the area is also a cultural powerhouse, home to huge markets, vibrant street art, and community festivals. With 200,000 residents in just 7 square kilometers, Bnei Brak is an ultra-Orthodox Jewish city where large families, rapid population growth, and a lack of space make it one of the most densely packed areas in Israel. Even as the city overflows with people, thrives on strong community bonds, religious traditions, and a rich cultural heritage. Nicknamed the Venice of Africa, Makoko is a floating slum where homes are built on stilts over the water. Over 250,000 people live here, relying on canoes for transport and fishing for survival. But despite its precarious existence, Makoko has its own schools, businesses, and an undeniable spirit of perseverance. Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, is home to over 21 million people, making it one of the most overcrowded cities on Earth. With endless traffic jams, chaotic slums, and packed markets, Dhaka is a city of extremes, where poverty and progress exist side by side. Manila has 1.8 million people in just 16 square miles, which means families of 6 or more often live in tiny one-room apartments. While it may seem unbearably crowded, Manila is a city of energy, culture, and street food that never sleeps. Home to 11 million people, Jakarta is a city drowning in traffic, high-rises, and informal settlements. Overpopulation has led to housing crises, floods, and infrastructure struggles, yet it remains a major economic powerhouse in Southeast Asia. Wow, what a journey! From floating slums to sky-high megacities, we've explored some of the most unbelievably crowded places on Earth. But here's the real question. Could you live in one of these places? Would you thrive in the chaos, or would you crave more space? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button to support the channel. And if you want more mind-blowing explorations of the world we live in, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Because trust me, we've got some wild stories coming your way. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay adventurous, and I'll see you in the next one.